Hi, my name's Kim J and I'm a visually impaired chef. I'm also a volunteer for RNIB and I've wrote two cookery books called A Sense of Cooking and A Taste of Spice, which are both in large print and all profits are going to RNIB. Now today I am going to show you how to make my chocolate chip cookies. These are amazing, they're soft, they're buttery and they are perfect for Christmas. Now, when my kids were little, I always used to make this ready for Christmas Eve because Santa absolutely loved coming to my house, especially to eat these chocolate chip cookies. Very easy to make. And the ingredients you're going to need is 50 grams of caster sugar, 125 grams of unsalted butter, 150 grams of self-raising flour, 350 grams of chocolate. Now I've got chocolate buttons here, but you can use a block of chocolate and just break it up into small pieces. Make sure it's dark chocolate. And you'll also need one egg. And those are the ingredients for this fabulous chocolate chip cookies. I'm going to start off with measuring out my ingredients. So first thing I'm going to measure is my 50 grams of sugar, and I'm going to use these talking kitchen scales. They are so easy to use, very easily available. I've got mine from RNIB. And the great thing about these kitchen scales is that they do different types of weights. So you can go ounces, grams for liquid. So I am going to measure out 50 grams of caster sugar.
It is 20 grams. It is 37 grams. It is 49 grams.
And it's that easy to use. I've measured out all the ingredients and I've got my butter here. Now the butter is quite hard, it's come from the fridge, so I want to soften it up slightly. So I'm going to put it into
Door open, beware, hot contents.
my microwave, and as you can tell it talks.
Door closed.
Very easy to use this microwave. It's
Low, defrost, medium, medium high. 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Time completed. Door open, beware, hot contents.
taking the butter out and it is softer now, soft enough to be
Door
able
closed.
to beat together with the other ingredients. I have a large mixing bowl here and I'm going to beat up the butter and the sugar. Now I'm going to use an electric whisk. If you don't have an electric whisk or a food processor, don't worry, just beat it by hand. It doesn't make that much of a difference. And you beat it until it's soft and fluffy. The mixture is now soft and fluffy. It's the texture of a thick sort of clotted cream. Now I'm going to put the egg into there, but instead of putting the egg all at once, you want to put it a little bit at a time. This stops it from curdling. Now if it does curdle and you feel as if the mixture splits, add a little bit of flour in there and it will stop it from curdling. I've mixed the egg and it's almost like a very thick batter now. Now I'm going to incorporate the rest of the ingredients, which is the flour and the chocolate. We start with the flour. You add a little bit of a time and you want to fold it in. Now these cookies are very light, they're very soft, so they're not like sort of flat, thick cookies. So you need to try and keep as much air into that, and that is by incorporating the flour a little at a time. I've mixed all the flour together and it's come together in almost a very loose, kind of doughy sort of ball. Now I'm going to add the dark chocolate. I always use dark chocolate because it has a higher melting point than does milk chocolate, so it retains its shape. Now I'm adding as little or as much as you want. I always like a lot of chocolates in my chocolate chip cookies. Now I've added in about 3/4 of that chocolate. I'm not going to use any more because this is just enough for this mixture. There's a lot in there. And I'm going to stir it all in, ready for the next step. Rolling this mixture out into a bowl. It's about 3.5 to 4 centimetres in diameter, circular, and I'm going to place it on a grease-proof baking tray, and I'm going to slightly flatten the top. Now I've also put the oven on at 170 degrees, so it's heating up, ready for these cookies. I've rolled out all the cookies and I've got approximately 25 cookies. Now I've put the oven on at 170 degrees and I'm going to put these cookies in there. I'm going to use these amazing thermal gloves which go up to high temperatures and extremely low temperatures. This one I got from RNIB, but it is easily accessible from any other stores. Now you want these cookies to be in for approximately 12 to 13 minutes and then you check. Now this should be a golden brown. Now for those of you like me who haven't got sight, how do you know that it's ready? Well, when you feel the top, it will be firm. So if it isn't, put it in for another 3 or 4 minutes and check again. My cookies have had 19 minutes in the oven. Now when I've pulled them out using my oven gloves, and when I slightly touch them, they're hard on the top, but they're still soft. Now with these cookies, if you try and eat them now, and please don't because that chocolate is hot, it will crumble. So what you need to do is to let it cool down. And as it cools down, it starts to harden and crisp up. So give them at least 15 minutes before you try eating them, and they are delicious and they smell stunning. That smell of dark chocolate is just, it's Christmas. There we have it, Kim's chocolate chip cookies. What do you think, Santa? Do they pass muster? Let me have a try of one. I'll let you into a bit of a secret. Every Christmas Eve, when Santa comes calling around to leave the presents, he always leaves our house to the last. Why? So he can pinch one of these and take the rest for his elves. And who can blame them? They are delicious. Soft, crumbly. Sorry, Santa, this big plate's mine and that little one is yours. Happy Christmas. Now you have a recipe for a great dish, but when you're in the kitchen there are certain safety guides and rules that you should adhere to, and which keeps you safe. Now, one of the things that I do before I start cooking is I make sure that I've got shoes on that are sturdy with good grips. I make sure that there's nothing on the floor that I can trip over, and there are no spillages or liquid or condensation on the floor that makes it a bit of a hazard. Now, before cooking, the first thing that you do, as we all know, is wash our hands thoroughly. And especially when you're dealing with raw meat at every stage, wash your hands thoroughly. It stops cross-contamination. It keeps you and your family safe. When you're using the oven and the hob, know your oven and hob really well. Now, I use tactile markings so that I know exactly what temperature to put the oven on and what setting, so that I've not put the grill on when I should be putting the oven on. Now, with the hob, whenever you're sort of putting anything on the hob, make sure the handle is not sticking out. Now, I like to keep the handle at approximately 10 to 12. And the reason for that is it's not near enough to the unit for you to accidentally knock it off. It is not over another hob which may be on, so the handle's getting hot. So this is the safest position. Now, if you're boiling anything, be very, very careful. Don't fill the pan up too much. And if possible, use the boiler alert, which tells you when that liquid is bubbling away and it's hot, and it keeps you safe. If you're not comfortable with the hob and the oven, use the microwave whenever you can. It's a lot safer. And every time you are taking things out of the oven or from the microwave, because remember, plates and dishes get extremely hot in the microwave, use oven gloves. Now, I like to use thermal oven gloves, They're a lot safer. Don't be tempted to use tea towels or anything else. And they literally go to extreme temperatures, so you're very safe with them. Whenever you cut any food in the kitchen, use safe cutting methods. Keep the blade away from your fingers, so set it a couple of millimeters away from your fingers, and that way you're safe all the time. Now, if you're not confident with a knife, you can use appliances like food processors. Make sure you know how they work properly, and keep safe. And if you're still not confident, ask somebody else to do it. It is better to be safe than have an injury. If you have any cuts or you cut yourself whilst you're in the kitchen, put a plaster on it, and if you have a burn, run it under cold water, and if it's bad, you seek medical advice straight away. Whenever you cook meat, always ensure that the meat is thoroughly cooked, because you know raw meat will give you food poisoning. Now, the best optimum temperature to cook meat is between 66 degrees and 73 degrees. Use a food thermometer if you're not too sure. They do have talking food thermometers, which you can get quite easily. And you store the meat as soon as you can. As soon as it's cooled down, store it straight away in the fridge, and read the advice on storage on the labels.